You're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
All right, guys. Welcome back, Warlords. This is the Warlord Radio Podcast, and our guest today is Apophis 2036.
What's up?
So, guys, do us a favor and introduce yourselves and lean forward so the people listening.
Introduce us.
Yeah,
I'm Carrek. This is Craig. We have a show.
nobody cares. They want us to get to Apophis, so that's why everybody's tuning in right now. So, do us a favor and introduce yourselves and tell us what you do in the band.
Okay, well, I'm Alfonte. I'm the vocalist.
I'm Jarrel. I'm the guitarist.
Right on. And then who are we missing that's not with us here today?
We have Marco, our other guitarist. And then we have Reed, our bass player. Godsend is what I call him. Yeah. He comes from Skull Archer, and he plays in a couple other bands, but amazing bass player.
Artificial Life Force.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then we have our drummer Robbie. He's also in Insufferable Sorcery with Alan Como from.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, but that's the rest of the band.
Did you just quit on us again?
No, it's going.
Okay. Sorry, Warlords. We fucked this thing from the beginning. We have been screwing this pooch for about an hour now. We're trying to get this thing.
Yeah. We had some technical difficulties, to put it charitably.
We're currently having technical difficulties.
No, we got
it.
We got this down.
All right. Sorry to cut you off, man.
Yeah. So we've my band STD has played with you guys a handful of times.
Even the first song.
Right? And you guys definitely have a very unique sound. And I see that on social media that you guys have it described as kind of like avant-garde black metal, which I think is very appropriate for your sound. But how would you guys, in your own words, describe what the band sounds like for the people that don't know?
Well, the thing I'll say, we're really the black metal part comes from the vocals, you know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we'll play a few riffs that sound black metal like.
Right.
But I would say that we're much more of like I would say we're black and death metal.
Okay.
Much more than a dark and black metal or death and black metal. If that makes sense. Okay, because
no, go for it. I get hung up on subgenres too, man. Let's deep dive into this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's all about the sound. Pretty much like our sound is much more death metal than black metal.
Okay. And in like what way? What would you like just in terms of like the way you God damn it, the way you assemble your rhythms, or I mean, is it the guitar tone, or I mean like
I'll say like everybody has their different influences.
Oh yeah.
And it's just we just don't allow like, you know, okay, so here's our title, so then here's where we have to work with. Like, no, it's like whatever sounds good,
right?
We want to use it.
Yeah.
And that's really just how it works. Me and Marco, we write a lot of riffs and stuff like that, and it's just, you know, I have like a metalcore influence, but I also have like, you know, old school death metal influence. I love hardcore punk.
Nice.
And stuff like that, you know, Gorilla Biscuits and just...
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Did you happen to go to that show that came through a couple of weeks ago?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. Unfortunately, I missed it. We were playing it at Tomcats, but I'd really like to see them live.
Yeah.
Gorilla Biscuits?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to that show. I did get to go to the DRI show at the end of last year. And I also did, I went to Suicidal Tendencies and I saw Madball.
Nice.
So that was sick. But
I fucking love Suicidal Tendencies. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved Suicidal Tendencies. I'm just like, man, let's go skateboarding and fuck some shit up.
And it's still like that. Like, it'll never get old. Like, it's just like it embodies like rebellion. You know.
What's crazy about Suicidal Tendencies is even to this day, because I mean, those dudes are all a bit long in the tooth.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, they were in their 20s when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But that pit is still just as fucking crazy as it ever was, man. It's one of the most nutso mosh pits I've ever fucking been in my life.
We saw him at Gas Monkey, and it was raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's been
I
on
wanted to
Facebook
go
and
to
stuff.
that show.
I lost all my money, got wet. My phone got wet. Like everything got wet, but it's like that was such a crazy experience. Like it's one of the best memories, just like moshing in the rain. Like
yeah,
just
man.
a bunch of, you know.
You're like, this is worth all these destroyed fucking dollar bills. I can't text anybody because my screen's all fucked
I had to
up.
get a new phone. Like,
Like you destroyed your phone and it was still worth it.
yeah.
That's great, man. So, but okay, so like, you guys use a ton of different influences and come into like this crazy heavy sound. And I mean, like, how long have you guys been doing this?
2.5 years, almost 3 years.
In October, it'll be 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years, man. And so, like, what are some other influences that you guys have put into your stuff? I'm sorry, I'm coming in totally cold. I haven't heard you guys.
No,
yet.
you're good. Well, I will say I love grindcore, and in fact, I got into grindcore before I got into black metal.
Nice.
So
Like
there's,
who?
oh man, Napalm Death,
Fuck yeah.
fucking Pig Destroyer, fucking man, I can name plenty of bands, but like
I got to meet the dudes from Pig Destroyer. They're like the sweetest guys ever.
Right.
Like I came in to interview them. They was like, "Hey man, you want a beer? Like, have a seat. We saved you the comfortable chair." And I'm just like, "You guys are awesome, man."
the vocalist of that band, like I just love how fucking pissed off he sounds. Like, dude, that's fucking badass.
And
Like,
if you meet him backstage, he's like, "Hey, I saved you a spot." You're like, thanks, man.
Do you like Nazem?
oh yeah, dude.
I was a big fan of Nazem. I was really bummed when they had to break up, but
Yeah.
Happens, but yeah.
And Human 2.0.
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, it was a real sad story. Nazem was I believe, a 3-piece grind band from, I'm going to say Sweden, and I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what it is.
Some Nordic country, right?
And back whenever they had that really huge tsunami in Indonesia, he got killed in it.
What?
Yeah, and it was like a crazy story of like him and his girlfriend were on vacation and they were in the upper level of the hotel.
Yeah, because the tsunami was like fucking, it was seriously, it was like 6 stories high or some shit.
So
like that.
like they literally got woken up by the waves breaking through the glass of the balcony.
Fuck.
He got they both got knocked off the bed. He threw her on the bed, and then when the water receded, he got sucked out the window and she was saved.
No shit.
Yeah.
What
So
the fuck?
it was a very crazy story, and
Man, I hope he was in Valhalla right
I know,
now. He fought a fucking wave.
Was this in 2011 or was this longer before that?
I think it was a little before that. I want to say like around 06, but I could be wrong on
I
that.
don't remember. I just remember that there was a giant fuck off tsunami in Indonesia.
Yeah, but
That's crazy.
and he was the main songwriter in the band, so that kind of just like killed the band.
Yeah.
But the stuff that they do have out there is great.
I need to check him out. I'm not familiar with that.
NASUM. If you haven't checked them out, please do.
Oh yeah. Dude.
You should see the smile on this dude's face, everybody. Like, as soon as Greg said Nazem, just big smile.
I'm telling you, I fucking love metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardcore, like,
So you just, like, you feel it in deep in your soul. It's just, like, one of those kinds of things.
music is my passion.
Nice.
Fuck yeah, man.
So, what are some of the first bands that like really got you into it? Like, how'd you get involved in metal in the first place?
It's funny you say that. Well, like growing up, my parents actually I don't have any metalheads in my family, you know, but one day somebody, you know, he sold me an MP3 player and man, it had Slipknot, it had Mushroom Head, it had ICP, it had a few bands.
The ICP has come up a couple of times on this podcast against my better judgment.
I
don't
not
even
a
listen to
juggalo, but ICP cracks me the fuck up.
He's played at a gathering of the Juggalos.
I played a Juggalo gathering one time because I was in this hip hop band called Short Bus. It was fucking ridiculous.
Short Bus?
Short Bus. Yeah, you might have, man. That band was inexplicably popular. We were terrible and fucking, but yeah. But I will never forget just being around that many Juggalos at one time. That was when I realized, like, I am not a Juggalo, but I got love for the hatchet. You know? But anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
He gave you like ICP and Slipknot and Mushroom Head.
Just all types of shit, man.
Dude, Mushroom Head is straight up. They're a little hot as Slipknot. I met one of those dudes for an interview, and like I didn't even bring it up. I was just like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And he was like, "Fucking Slipknot ripped us off." Like it almost went down just like that. I'm
I got 2 friends from high school, And shout out to my homie Jace Dennison. Shout out to my homie Andy Steele. We're all good friends nowadays, but when they first like met each other, because my friend Jace, he's like huge Mushroom Head fan.
Yeah.
You know, and Andy, you know, huge Slipknot fan, and like it's like they didn't like each other. Like they and it's like
two different types of music. Though.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it all.
The split those, everybody gets hung up on that gimmick, like, because Mushroom Head was doing it first. They straight up were.
Yeah.
The masks and the coveralls and shit. And then all of a sudden, Slipknot came out with a much more radio-friendly sound doing the same gimmick, and they blew up.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it sucks.
That's pretty much what got me into metal, because, like, you know, once I heard Slipknot, I think the first ever song I heard by Slipknot was, damn, what was that song? Not People Equal Shit. No. The one that's like, oh, dude, Snap, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, okay, I know exactly what you're talking
it's
about.
weird because
that was on one of their...
What, Spit It Out?
No, Snap, like one more time.
It was off like the 97 demo. I think it was like right after Make Feet Kill Repeat.
Right.
Okay.
It was I think it technically was recorded before their first album came out, but they didn't release it until that first album blew up.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Wait and Bleed, I remember being 15 when Slipknot hit. It was big, dude.
Well, I will say, like, I saw Slipknot, it was right after the first album came out, but it was before they had blown up. It was before.
It depends on what you call their first album, because are we talking about?
Well, I'm not talking about Mayfield, Make Feet Kill Repeat. Their first like Roadrunner release, you know, the
major
Slipknot,
label.
and it was right after that came out, but it was before the Wait and Bleed video came on. It was before they had played Ozfest. So they were supposed to play this small venue in Oklahoma City, and the show got oversold, so the fire marshal shut it down. And it was this big thing because everybody had bought tickets, and like everybody in the scene like knew about Slipknot, was wanting to go see it, but the show got canceled and everybody was pissed. So you know, and the band came out, and they came out and slamming the promoter, who was a notorious shithead. And
promoter being a fucking shithead, that never happened.
Twist ending, but so they ended up coming back a handful of months later, and they played a different venue that was quite a bit bigger, and it was just this big music hall that was just like a big square, and it was packed front to back. And they came out, and that is honestly still one of the best metal shows I've seen today, because they were nuts. Like, 3/4 of the band spent most of their time out in the crowd, like crowd surfing. They were actually just setting themselves on fire with lighter fluid. That's like awesome. Not protective gear. Just lighter fluid, setting each other on fire. Came out, just played a blistering set. The pit was enormous. They did a great job. And I've seen them a couple of times after that, and it's great to see them. But that one, just seeing them in that,
they were still hungry for it. They were like, "We're about to hit it big." I'm like, they came out to rip shit up.
Yeah, and they were very apologetic about what had happened before and everything. So in that area, that's a very notorious show. So I got a lot of love for them just for that. Yeah. You know, over the years, it's this some of the stuff I'm not as big a fan of, but I mean, I always got to give it up. It's like, if you put on a good show and you're busting your ass, I mean, you deserve respect. So,
I'm a huge, like he said, because the same thing kind of happened to me. Like, I grew up with like hip hop and R&B and all that stuff, you know, from my family, and then I just started to relate to metal just because I was, you know, type of kid that just couldn't relate to like mainstream music after a while.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same kind of way.
Yeah, and it's like Slipknot and Korn, because that's new metal. We look at it as, you know, new metal. Korn. It's not, you know, a lot of people read real metal.
Korn's self-titled album is like a huge influence on who I am as a person, though, just because like when that album dropped and how important it was to me at the time. Yeah. Like, I probably wouldn't have even started playing metal, because I had been playing bass, but like I probably wouldn't have started playing metal if it wasn't for that Korn album. Now, since then, I've kind of outgrown Korn for the most part, but I mean,
I don't even listen to him anymore.
It's really hard, and Fieldy, I'm fucking a better bass player than Fieldy is at this point. I'm sorry. He sits there and just taps out the drum. Yeah. Like, fuck that.
All right.
Well, yeah, see, the weird thing about metal, though, like, well, it's not really weird. But whenever I first got into metal, you know, like, I started off with Slipknot, Mushroom Head. Pretty much, it's not really soft, but it's like on the lighter side.
Well, it's a really good jumping on point.
Yeah.
I think the main thing for me was Pantera, because like when I heard that changed, like, because like what I perceived as rock music from like the outside, because I didn't listen to it, and, like what I perceived as rock music and all that stuff, I was like, I didn't know a guitar can do that. I didn't know that this can do that, and it's like that's just it's like I just wanted to listen to other stuff that had that same groove, and I'm like real big into Lamb of God. Stuff like that, and
I actually believe I really like Lamb of God.
I do too.
I get because every now and then you get shit just because they're kind of popular, and that's one of those bands where I'm like, fuck you, I like Lamb of God.
They stay solid, man.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I'm not a bad band.
No, not at all. But like you get those metal elitists. They're like, they're not from fucking.
You listen to the Lamb of God.
Volcano in Finland. It's like, fuck you, asshole.
I feel like once a band gets to a point where everybody knows them, whether you're a metalhead or not, then people act like, oh, well, that's not real metal.
Right.
It's like you automatically get that stigmatism just because you're big.
Right.
Just because you're somewhat of a household name, and it's like that's like they're a solid band. They've never sold out. People say they sold out with Sacrament, but they never sold out.
No.
They've always tried to revamp their sound, but at the same time stay true to their roots. It's like.
This is the exact point when Jason would chime in and like defend Metallica.
Right?
Jason fucking loves Metallica so much, dude.
Yeah.
Like unapologetically fucking loves Metallica.
Yeah.
But that's a really good point of what you're saying is like, there is a certain point where, if you hit, and this is kind of true with anything, especially in art, like if you hit a certain level, like people will turn their backs just because like you've gone to corporate or mainstream or whatever. But I feel like if you still have a solid product, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like if people are just digging what you do and what comes out naturally, then keep fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Well, metal's got it's like
chip on its shoulder.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like the great thing about metal fans is that we're so loyal, and is like our love for metal is so intense. Is like, but the downside is that you get the people that like are elitist and exclusionary. And it's like, look, we all have our entry points. It's like I unapologetically love like Kiss and like old school hard rock and stuff like that because I listened to that stuff as a kid and it was great. Doesn't mean I think it's like necessarily great now and it's not necessarily my taste now. But if it wasn't for that, I would never have gotten to Napalm Death or Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And everybody is the same.
I was actually about to talk about Cannibal Corpse.
Like everybody's the same. Like we've all got our different backgrounds, and as a kid, like you don't know, you're literally just discovering. And it's like some people be like, oh well, I was listening. Okay, good for you. Then you had a friend that was able to show you. But not everybody has that.
Yeah.
Some of us, it's like you just know what's on the radio or what an older brother is playing or what you hear in the car, something. And then as you get older and you kind of develop, your own tastes and stuff, you discover new shit like Norwegian black metal and all that kind of stuff, which is great. But it's like metalheads are so like, it's always either or. It's like, do you like Metallica or Megadeth? Well, fuck off. Why not both?
Yeah, I like both.
Who cares? You know what I mean?
I like
it's
metal.
Yeah, it's like, is it this band better or this band better? Who gives a shit? They're two great bands. Yeah. Like, enjoy
It's
both.
not about
Go on
comparison.
with your bad stuff. Yeah,
It's about what you get out of it.
There's definitely a whole ton of awesome underground bands that need more credit and deserve more listens. 100%. But it doesn't mean that Lamb of God is shit. I mean, it's like you can say that that's not your taste. Great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No big deal. But you're just fucking lying if you're saying that it's garbage. Because I guarantee that drummer will smoke anybody out.
So like, that's funny because I'm picturing it in my head, the meltdown on that guy's face. So when you first you start off with like Slipknot and Korn. You start off with basically new metal, like the shit that you can get a hold of. Honestly,
Sepultura, Roots, Bloody Roots.
Hey, that's still fucking great. That holds up. I'll defend.
I'll listen to it still to this day.
I mean,
that's a great goddamn.
After
album.
that though, really, I don't know. Have you heard of avant-garde metal?
Yeah, I mean, like there's a few bands I've heard that like they claim the avant-garde moniker.
Like Arcturus.
Yeah,
Arcturus is fucking. I'm surprised you know about them.
Yeah. We're trying to say, man, you down in my cred?
Bro,
It's all good.
Craig loves metal so much. You guys don't even know. It's like his fucking. If you cut him right now, just like a Judas Priest logo.
Right.
Yeah, man. Like especially whenever I first heard Mr. Bungle.
Oh, dude.
Mr. Bungle, like, that shit changed my life.
Me too.
Like,
No, straight up. Like, so tell me about when you, like, how did you first hear Mr. Bungle? Because, like,
well,
that's a weird one.
Mike Patton, you know, he's a fucking badass vocalist, and his range is like, he's one of my influences.
Okay.
But, yeah, at first, I heard a song by Faith No More.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, midlife
Bro, I love
crisis.
Faith. I still love Faith No More to
Epic.
this day. Yeah, I like Faith No More in general.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, they had nobody sounded like Faith No More.
No.
You know what I mean?
Still.
Of course.
Like, that was them.
Nobody
was their
had that
sound.
dead fish at the no.
But yeah, like, I don't know. And Mr. Bungle is really not only Mike Patton's voice, but like the songwriting and how they write songs and like they chop them up.
Their early stuff is like so ahead of like its time.
It is. It really is.
Yeah,
and they
like-
used to wear masks. And they were
Oh,
like,
shit.
yeah, they used to be really fucking mysterious. And they were like, oh, yeah, like they'll answer the question, but whenever the interviewer is like, who are you? They're like, oh, just a man in a mask, you know?
That's a great action.
It reminded me a lot of like at the time it was like Frank Zappa.
Yeah, no, it was highly
like,
experimental.
it was just so out there that you knew that these guys had to be crazy talented to pull it off because it's like it sounds like noise, but it's definitely not. Yeah. It's like you know there's something going on there.
Yeah.
But it's also like what the hell is going on?
It's one of those like Mr. Bungle was definitely like one of those fine wine bands. Like you either enjoy this or you fucking don't, man.
Like, it's insanity, dude. And whenever you
there's no casual Mr. Bungle fans.
Exactly.
Where, man, summer of '99, I was huge into Mr. Bungle.
they'll make a song. Well, not now, but like they make music or made music that was like it sounded really fucking happy.
Yeah,
and
but
like
it's still
ska
just
and
so
shit.
goddamn evil.
Yeah, it's like about death and sex and like all types of fucking shit.
It's crazy how they experimented with like surfer rock. And stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
all kinds of different influence. I mean, there's a Mr. Bungle is sort of, in my opinion, indirectly responsible for like what's considered the more popular tones in psychobilly and stuff.
Yeah,
because they mixed like that kind of punky classic rock and roll every now and then with just like hardcore fucking either just so much fuzz you can barely hear the actual note, or I mean, you know,
you would have no Eagles of Death Metal,
or
stuff like that.
Any Caius, any of that shit wouldn't exist.
Yeah. I think a huge number of people could probably claim Mr. Bungle as an influence just because they covered so much.
Oh yeah,
it's like they did like they pretty much hit upon like every conceivable rock genre.
Yeah, and then
you could do.
Like managed to infuse it with itself. At every single turn.
Yeah.
But no, I'm right there with you, man. Mr. Bungle, the first time I heard Mr. Bungle, like, I was just sitting there. I wasn't even like, somebody put it on. I wasn't paying attention. I just remember being like, what the fuck is that, man?
Yeah, it mesmerizes you.
Yeah, it does. Like, I was across the room and it was just like, what? And then as soon as I found out, he was like, oh yeah, it's Mr. Bungle. Like, I went and got a hold of fucking everything I could, man. Because it's bizarre. Yeah. But anyway, I like when people honestly have the balls to experiment with something, especially something like metal.
That's rare nowadays in metal.
It is.
Well, I wouldn't say it's rare, but it
gets buried.
Really,
You know what? I feel like we have these periods where people want to experiment and like you see it in abundance, and then something, whatever it is, that becomes mainstream, and then it gets like oversaturated.
Yeah,
and then it's like you lose it. Like I feel like in the middle of this decade, there was a lot of experimental type stuff. And it just gets overshadowed by all the shitty stuff that comes after.
The shitty shit.
The shitty shit. No, it's true. It's the shitty shit. But I mean, what they do is they'll cherry pick the parts of the experimental stuff that's working.
Yeah.
Turn it into like a cohesive sound, and then everybody will do that cohesive sound for a while. I mean, like not to talk about my own band on our interview with you guys, but I mean,
no, you're good.
I told you guys we kind of do the 80s metal. Like,
Diesel Beast.
Yeah, Diesel Beast, man.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks. And we do it fairly well. Like, we put on a really good show, and nobody in my band sucks.
Right.
Like, we're all good musicians. But, like, it's And we get booked on fucking death metal shows and thrash metal shows, like all kinds of shit.
Well, that's because it's so prevalent around here.
Yeah,
I mean, we've
sure.
talked about that before.
And I'm not mad about it. I love that fucking music. Like, I want to be there.
It's an embarrassment of riches, but it's definitely like, especially in the DFW area, it can totally like overpower like sure. other types of metal and stuff like that. Because same thing. I mean, it's like I know you guys play like a whole bunch of like. Underground brutal death metal shows and stuff like that, and you totally mesh with it, but in a good way. You also stand apart from it because like you guys won't sound like all the other bands that are playing on the bill.
We have so many weird parts, and like it depends on what song we start out with. Like one of our Apophis 2036, one of our songs we've been starting out with that, and it's like but it's like we play these weird parts and people are just like, well, what what is this? It sounds like grunge or it sounds like some weird shit. And then we'll get heavy at one part, or we'll play like a slam part at one part, or we'll do like some blast beats, and then like or like we'll go to like a blues stomp or some shit, and it's like.
You guys like to fucking throw curveballs, is what it is. I'm digging that.
Yeah.
I love
it's
that.
It's about the unpredictability.
Yeah. That's a great fuck, because no band does that. Like, especially in metal, most people are like, no, you got to write.
I mean, it's out there, but in Texas, it's really all over the place. But like in this scene, it's not
all
as
over
much.
The place. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of like. Well, there's certainly no oversaturation of it. But I love a band that keeps you on. That's one of the reasons I like Silver Tongue Devil. Like. If you've never seen Silver Tongue Devil, you're not prepared to just watch that show. It's a wild show.
Yeah.
Craig's a crazy front man. He's singing about your mother sucking cocks in hell, like screaming right in your face, waving a fucking spear around and shit. It's great. You know
I definitely like the sound.
Tell us a little bit about like how you guys write songs. Like, does one person come in with like a fully formed song, or do you guys just like sit around and throw riffs out there, or do you come in with like their lyrics already written? Like, how's it work for you guys? Because I know every band, every situation is different.
More often than not, as far as like instrumentals, since we like started, me and Marco, our other guitar player, we'll just have our own riffs. Like I have my riffs, he has his riffs, and he like comes up with some really amazing riffs. And I'll hear his riffs, and then I'll take some of my riffs, and I'll just kind of like adjust it to what he's doing.
Transpose.
And but he writes lyrics. He's always writing, and he's always got things that he can use. He's like, well, maybe I can use this. I'm not maybe. Is that how it goes?
Somewhat, yeah. But go ahead.
But no,
that's a side eye right there. Like, yeah, man, go ahead, simplify my process. Let's keep doing that.
No, he has lyrics for days, and he whatever the situation calls for, if he has something or he improvises, but like he always is on top of that. But it's like basically it's just we all have ideas and we come together and just try to put the ideas together. However a song is going to work. We don't want to like bore people. We don't make the song too long. We just structure it the way it needs to be structured. We let the song write itself.
Other than
I'll say.
Do what?
I'll say. Yeah, actually, you're right. But whenever I would say we actually, whenever it comes to songwriting, we made songs where we would sit down and make the riffs, and I'll write the vocals right there.
Yeah.
Or write the lyrics, whatever. But
because you're still doing the vocal melody and all that. Because that's a. So you just have. I'm sorry. You just sit there with like a ton of lyrics, and then these guys kind of like come up with the instrumentation, and then you like off the top of the dome just immediately go into the vocal melody and kind of see what fits. That's fucking badass, man.
I mean, I do play guitar. I'm more of a guitar player.
Right on.
But
yeah, some of our riffs are because even when we started, like Alfonte, he was a big part in like the riff writing.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're all kind of like multi-instrumentalists, and it's just we all just have ideas. And
fucking talented motherfuckers.
Right? These guys sitting over here judging us.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, we're not judging it. It's all about the eccentricity, I would say.
But you guys definitely got that in spades, and I mean that in a good way. Like, you guys definitely have like by far like one of the most unique sounds in the scene.
I'm so fucking pumped to see you guys now. Like there's no way in hell I'm not coming to your next show. I'm so fucking curious, man.
Oh, it's great. Like I said, I mean, we've played with them numerous times, and it's always a good time. Like the guys always put on a killer show. And they always like stand out a mile, and I love that. That's always like what one of the things that I cue in on is like the same thing like the first time we played with Diesel Beast. It's like because I always
that was one of the worst shows I ever played.
Yeah, he says that, but it's like I could tell. I was like these guys have a unique sound, a unique energy on stage. And I always love seeing that, because I always I'm like standing in the shadows, like watching the band and like trying to see like what they're like and stuff like that. And with you guys, it's like, wow, you guys are just totally doing your own thing. Yeah. And that's awesome.
And I love that. I mean, it's really interesting because so few bands actually have like everybody at the same time writing a song. Yeah. And I mean, it's, everybody contributes what they contribute and everybody writes their little parts and stuff. But like the way you're describing it is you guys literally just sit in a room and just hammer shit until it works out, and everybody's throwing out ideas like collaboratively. You guys are less like a band and more like a straight up like ensemble of artists coming together to make the one thing. So, I mean, I think that's fucking cool. And like I said, I'm super psyched to see you guys now.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm sorry, I came in totally cold on this. I was way unprepared for this interview. I'm man enough to admit that.
I'll say I didn't even know y'all did interviews, so it's like,
right? They were like, fair enough.
They were like, we got an interview with. I'm like with Craig. I'm like, he does interviews. I'm like, I'm like, I'm down. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, we're super glad to have you guys on here. So, Alfonte, let me ask you, because I know that you're into like some occult stuff and into like dark arts and like chaos magic and especially like an artwork side and stuff like that. And do you try to bring some of that into the lyrics of what you do with Apophis? Do you have kind of like an idea of lyrically what you like to keep the Apophis music to, or do you just come in with total like blank slate and it could be anything?
Well, I would say it's much more of a theme. Mm-hmm. Now, Apophis pretty much is two things. It's the asteroid that was supposed to hit here, and 2036, kill everybody, Okay. And also, it's the Egyptian god of death and destruction.
Right.
So, whenever I write, it's mostly about the doomsday, like apocalyptic. I would say that we're much more of the apocalyptic type.
Themes of like finalization and like everything being wiped out and just finality, basically.
Yeah, and like doomsday cultists and like people are
yeah.
People are like they're in the ruins
Heaven's
and shit.
Gate. No, I'm joking.
Let's chop off our cocks.
Jonestown. No, I'm joking.
Dude, that's actually a good ass idea, but like,
there you go.
Really, it's something that whenever you listen to the instrumentation, like you would never think that it's about, the world's gonna end and everything's just gonna cease one day,
yeah.
But man, it's a really vast thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. So I didn't know that you were a chaos magician. That's very interesting to me. Are any of your songs like sigils? Like, do you know what I mean when I say that? It's like
sigils.
Yeah, are you essentially casting like intent and will into your songs to essentially, to get them out in the universe? I've heard about people doing that because, I mean, you see everybody, will draw a little doodle or whatever, but they don't put a lot of work into it, I guess.
That's an interesting question. Have you ever, because you did that on your own.
I have.
But it's like, do you do that during the set or during
the set?
Did I just expose you and like, like blow up your spell?
Way to ruin it, Carrek.
You fucked up all my spells.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll still do it. But like,
exactly, flip it in reverse.
It's really
it's amazing.
There you go.
It's really like the energy is just pulling in all of the energy.
Right.
And whenever I perform live, I'm almost a different person.
I absolutely agree. I hit a Gnostic state on stage. That's one of the reasons I think I do this. Like, there are levels to my own brain that I hit when I perform live that I couldn't achieve with drugs. I couldn't achieve with the best orgasm in the world. Like, it does something to my spirit that I cannot fucking describe.
Hell yeah.
And that's why I do it. I fucking love this shit. I get something out of it I cannot get anywhere else. And that's why I'm a 33-year-old, very bald man who still gets out there and fucking screams at teenagers.
Hell yeah.
I fucking love it, man. But it's I'm curious about that, because I mean, anytime you're trying to work, like if you're doing occult work, like I don't know if you're, you know, there's so many different ways you could go, but I mean, like, you know, there's right hand, left hand,
Left.
yeah, for sure.
Left hand pass. Shout out to
really
Tuned.
the best one. It's that's the one that like gets you laid. It's great. I am a big fan of the left-hand path myself. But anytime, you know, I consider any art that somebody creates to be magical in nature is kind of my opinion.
Now, see, the thing about magic is really about tapping into the energy. Like you can literally take a guitar, go out into the wilderness. You can play a song. You can make a song about somebody. You could think about like the intent. It's really about the intent.
Exactly. Focusing your will towards one specific thought.
Yeah, it's pretty much bending will.
Exactly. And then I view when you create art, it's essentially conjuration. You are bringing something into this world and creating a concept and thought from nothing. You know what I mean? That's why I love it so much.
I don't know if you have or not,
about.
but you should definitely look into the 7 Hermetic principles.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar for sure.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that too.
Yeah. First and foremost, I am a big nerd. I am a giant fucking nerd. And one of the things that I geek out about the most is occult stuff. Teachings, stories, history, like it's one of those things. And then once you get into it, you start fucking around with it. Yeah. You start practicing. And I mean, it's very strange because there are results, and I don't know if those results are exactly from what I've been doing, but I mean, it's weird how the universe will sync up like that sometimes.
No, you are you control your own path, and it's like, you know, those principles. Once you have an understanding, you don't have ultimate understanding, but you humble yourself and realize I don't know anything.
You need to destroy your ego for sure.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And you open yourself up to all these different opportunities, and you know, I guess not opportunities, but you just have an open awareness.
Exactly.
About who you are and what you are. So
you can think of things from multiple perspectives. Your view tends to not be so myopic all the time. And I mean, sometimes a myopic view is a really good and handy thing, but sometimes you really need to take a step back and try and look at something as objectively as possible from as many angles as you possibly can, which is not always the most easiest thing because we all have our own like hang-ups about shit. And that's why destruction of the ego is important.
Right.
Because I could just sit there and be like, nope, this is all bullshit. I'm not a wizard. Or I could sit there and act like I'm a fucking conduit for the universe and my dick shoots lightning. Right. Fucking chaos magic's great, man.
I've never practiced chaos magic, but I have practiced kendo magic before.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. I'm not as familiar with kendo as some of the other stuff.
Well, pretty much, okay. You go to the set area, you light a candle, and pretty much you look into the flame. You stare at the flame, you study the motion of the flame. And some people, they can, every movement, pretty much. You're not using a scrying mirror or a crystal ball.
Yeah, but I mean, you scry with like the angle that the flame is moving, or even the color of the smoke coming out of the flame or anything like that.
It could be a meditation too. I would say what I did was much more of a meditation because I wasn't really. Well, I was intending, but I wasn't really like trying to manifest, you know?
Right. No, I get that. Like, you had your intent, but you weren't necessarily trying to. I don't know, when you say manifest, because there's a lot of different ways that people can say manifest, but you're essentially just bringing your thought into reality. And you can have a thought that, you know, you're trying to influence something in a certain way, but you don't necessarily, you wouldn't put the same kind of effort into it, I suppose, if you weren't trying to draw it into reality. But it's very strange because every now and then you can have a fleeting thought and immediately
Yeah.
Like, you can see that you will start to put together the puzzle pieces that are already there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like suggestive will and mind over matter kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you do candle magic, do you like subscribe to like the color theories, or I mean, because there's a lot of like, you know, a lot of different candles, different sizes, shapes of candles. Color for sure will they're used to focus your will in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like say a black candle is very good for like absorbing or getting rid of negative spirit, whereas a white candle is more of a candle. They call it a purity candle, but like it reflects outward.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to manifest something within yourself or something like that, you would use a black candle. If you're trying to like make the world a better place, which isn't really my bag, you use a
Why
white
would somebody
candle.
waste their time with that?
I'm really just trying to get laid.
Yeah, but
A for honesty.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, A for honesty.
I don't blame
those children in Indonesia.
But yeah, it's like whenever you go into that state of mindfulness and like you're staring at one thing, like I can stare at this bottle right now, and once you make the brain still, you start to see things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like for some reason, I've always had second vision. Like I've seen things happen before they happen and shit, and it's fucking weird.
Is it like a dream thing, or does it just flash for you every now and then?
It just flash. I don't ask for it. Like it just happens. It doesn't happen all the time.
No, but I mean, like you just.
But it does happen. The fact that it does happen at all, that's pretty extraordinary.
When it happens, I have a weird thing where it's like, it's not so much a premonition, but I get deja vu, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, I've fucking been here. I've been in this exact situation.
Like, wait a minute, didn't this just happen like a couple of days ago or something?
And it's vivid, like clothes people are wearing, the angle that I'm looking from. Like, it's a really strange thing, and it's just one of those phenomena that's happened my whole life. So.
That's a glitch in the Matrix, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm slowly dying.
Could be though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Reality is how you perceive it, man. You think you're on a podcast right now, you could be screaming at a mattress in a fucking psych ward right now.
I'm more sure of that than actually being on the podcast.
Now I'm gonna talk about intent and being in a band. Like, whenever you play on stage, whatever you send out, like you can literally be like, motherfucker, like Jim Morrison. Well, not really. He wasn't a guitar player or anything, but like his confidence level,
Right.
and just he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And just what he put out there, and everybody
He
caught on
wanted to
to
put
it.
out mystery, and that's, he wanted to hypnotise the crowd,
Yeah,
essentially.
that's why he's one of my biggest influences.
I get that. No, from somebody who's a musician and an occultist, I could really see how Jim Morrison would like speak to you on a different level, because he was really good at just fucking getting everybody to zone out, whether you were on drugs.
He was a
or
shaman.
not.
Yeah.
Fucking A. He was also a drunken buffoon, but that's the funny thing about magicians.
Well, that, I mean,
they often are.
I've listened to interviews with the band where they've talked about the fact that they were either the best band that you ever saw on that night or the worst, and there wasn't really a lot. It was either or.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like much down the middle of, oh, you guys do pretty good. It's like they were either just on and it was mind blowing, or just everything sucked. And they had nights of both. Which,
but if you actually think about intent in music, Jim Morrison did not particularly like people.
Yeah.
And there may have just been nights where he was like, if I play a great show, people are going to come up and mob me. If I go out here and fuck this up, nobody's going to talk to me, and it's going to be great.
Oh yeah, man. He went, I think it was the Whiskey a Go-Go, but like he took acid one time. He took so much fucking acid, and he forgot about the show.
Oh, really?
So his bandmates had to pick him up, and they went there, and that was the night that he screamed, what was it, Mother, I want to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Or, Mother, I want to fuck you. Father, I want to kill you.
Stone scene, yeah, that shit.
The Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
It's like he was really big into psychology and philosophy, mainly.
For sure. And Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels, fucking weed,
whiskey.
acid.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
being a magician's super fun, man.
right?
it is, but it's really whenever you play live, you can, even if you're just thinking it in your head, like people really do feel the energy.
For sure. It's a connection on another level. You know,
It doesn't matter if you're playing the drums, vocals, guitar, keyboard,
there's a
violin.
reason that dudes like us are drawn to shit like this. Because you think about it, it's fucking insane what we do.
Right.
It's like we're going to create music that is actually, quite frankly, sort of difficult to listen to sometimes. Mm-hmm. And we're going to, we're going to spend so much time doing this one thing and then just throw it at the universe.
Right.
And then move on.
Right.
And it's like, it's such an insane thing to think about. But I mean, all musicians are just a little fucking odd.
Yeah.
All performers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little to the left.
Well, you kind of have to be.
Yeah, you do have to be to put that much of yourself into what you do.
Yeah.
Because if you're just the type of person, it's like, oh, I'll just get a different hobby. It's like you'll never you'll never hack
a hobby. This is a fucking lifestyle.
Yeah, you'll never hack it like
it's killing me
going
slowly.
through like what you have to go through like as a musician, because it's like the idea of like riches or anything like that, it's like such a joke. It's like no, it's like if you're not just like 1,000% invested, it's like you're never gonna do anything.
Yeah.
So just to get to do a band, just to get a group of guys together, in wherever you're going to practice, like that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And just to play a show is a huge accomplishment. And just to record a song is a huge accomplishment, just because it takes so much work and dedication and wrangling other people and all of that kind of stuff. And then to like each step is like a major step of, it's like, wow, you really accomplished something.
I mean, before any of that starts, you had to, on your own, get good at an instrument.
And you had,
something.
and you had to like sit in a room and suck for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then just be like, this is...
I know a lot of Nirvana songs, my friend. I'm just saying.
Nirvana.
Hey man, when I was starting out, what it was super fucking simple.
Well, yeah, and everybody needs that.
I had an electric guitar before I even started playing bass.
That's kind of like how I'll say this, like when I was in high school, it was like 07, 08. So that time period, that's
shit. I'd already been out of high school for like 5 years, bro.
Yeah, I know. Well, like it's like at that time period, it was like Asking Alexandria, Attack, like whatever you want to say, the leading. Like muse for metal or hard rock, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And it's like that stuff was like open chord,
right.
Minor licks here and there, And it's like that's kind of how I started off playing like heavy stuff. I played in drop D and all that. And I eventually had to like, learn. I wanted to play in standard because I realized like all the bands that I really liked, all the older bands and the better bands, they learned from this stuff and this stuff. They played in standard.
Right.
It's like, but like that time period was like easy too. It was like kind of how people considered the early 90s, mid 90s grunge era was like.
Which it was standard tuning, ease, simple music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the thing about drop D tuning, because I talk shit about drop D tuning.
I don't like
fucking
it.
Time.
Yeah.
I don't either, and I'm a bass player, so it sounds particularly shitty on my instrument.
Yeah.
What do you guys tune to anyway?
B standard. My bad. I said
B standard.
Yeah, standard. Damn. I've been trying to talk Diesel Beast into going that heavy. They just won't fucking do it. I think they're fucking wusses.
Hey, man.
They're like E minor, man. That's as low as we're going.
Dude, we're E standard. Like nobody does that. Like
E standard.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
You can make standard sound heavy as fuck. Like
They do. I
using
don't know
root four
how.
chords
It sound that
and just
heavy.
transitions and things like that. Like it just depends on how you write the song and how you like write the individual riffs.
Yeah, dude.
That's true.
We're in E flat because that's what Black Sabbath did. Straight up, that was the conversation.
Like E flat?
It's like, well, yeah.
Isn't it? Wait, that's a.
Half
I think
step down.
Jimi Hendrix used to use that.
Yeah, it was that real early, like what's considered kind of the stoner sound now. Most stoner bands will tune down to E flat because it gives them that kind of Sabbathy tone. Mm-hmm. But we wanted it just to kind of put some edge on like the more bright Judas Priesty kind of Dio shit we did. Essentially. And Black Sabbath is straight up probably my favorite band. If I'm gonna get like
Sabbath
out
is
there,
sick.
they're so fucking amazing, dude. Nobody is Sabbath. Nobody is Sabbath, and nobody has ever touched Sabbath.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great bands that have done great things, but nobody did what Sabbath did.
I think I was like maybe 13 or so, and I was watching this documentary. It was on VH1, Heavy to Story Metal or some shit. And one dude made a comment. He's like every riff Sabbath have done, or every riff that you hear now, Sabbath has already did it.
Yeah.
Sabbath already did it. And I'm like,
that's actually one of Craig's like favorite points to throw in people's face when they talk shit about Sabbath.
I was like, well, I'm a kid. I'm like, well, here's this, here's that. And then I grew older and I got more into Sabbath, and I got. I'm thinking like they really
bitch, he was right.
They really did everything. Like,
and they did it fucking 30 years before everybody else did.
I mean, everything from Symptoms of the Universe to like Paranoid and all that shit is like they had this whole range and this whole scope of.
Think about how many just subgenres of metal came off of like one aspect of a Black Sabbath song.
Well, the thing. I mean, and I'm with Carrek. It's like I can endlessly for days listen to Black Sabbath, and it's like the thing that kills me is like you listen to it and you can be listening to an album that you've heard a million times before, and each time you'll hear something different, where it's like before, if you listen to something like a little interlude like Fluff or something like that, but then you listen to it in the context of a full record, you're like, God damn it, not only do they write like the heaviest shit ever, but they're writing like beautiful melodies.
I'll give you a really good example. When I was younger, I hated Planet Caravan because it wasn't fucking heavy enough.
Right.
I fucking hated it.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I do now. Now it transports me to a fucking cosmic desert out the fucking acid seas. Like, I don't know what the fuck happens when I listen to that song.
I know, right? Yeah.
Cosmic desert.
You got the good stuff that time.
Yeah. Dude, it's like some Stinky Pete, or I don't know what the fuck was going on. But there was just this one time I was listening to Planet Caravan and my whole perspective shifted on that song, and I was just like, oh, I'm a fucking space camel riding Sherpa with fucking rocket boots, man.
Or even like how Orchid opens Children of the Grave.
Oh, man.
Like just, like a simple little guitar melody like that. But it's like the placement of it and the way they execute it it's literally just perfect. Like 100 years from now, that's still gonna sound as perfect as it does when they created it.
For sure.
You cannot say that about basically any other music out there. I mean, it's like we all like hope that what we do like lasts longer.
Like I would love for I would love from entrails ripped from a virgin's cunt to the Smithsonian. That would be amazing to me. Like, this is George Fisher's neck bone. It's fucking big
ass neck.
and that would be crazy. But like I've always said, it's like whenever the end of the world is there, it's like the last person is they're gonna pick up a guitar and play War Pigs. I mean, it's like there's just something about what they did. I mean, it's like, because other types of music, like no matter what it is, whether it's like rock and roll or country or hip hop or like hard rock and stuff like that, you can point to all of these influences and it's like it kind of congealed and like all of these people. But for metal, it was like Sabbath, bam.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
we started this, we're gonna finish it.
It's like, there was like Deep Purple and Blue Cheer and a whole bunch of other bands that were doing great stuff, like Led Zeppelin doing great stuff, and none of it was metal until that opening of Black Sabbath, and all of a sudden you're like, well, this is totally different.
That tritone and just the lyricism and just like the whole atmosphere,
they created an entire feeling with that. So you know what I mean? Like, and it's still shit we all use today. Like that tritone that he hits is like the reason that I'm wearing a Satanarchist shirt. You got a fucking sweet leather jacket with patches. Like it created that entire atmosphere, attitude, and it's like everything about it into like 3 notes. You know what I mean? And it defined a genre that has since branched off into thousands of fucking subgenres.
So many
and they did it with 3 fucking notes, man.
The thing about metal, like you can turn anything into metal.
Like, there are metal covers of literally everything.
Well, and that's the great thing too, is that like the fact that metal is so broad that literally like you can have like the most crazy like avant-garde underground death spell omega type shit. Oh, man. Like you can have that, and then you can also have just something like straight up and traditional, like a power metal. Yeah, like Angel Witch, like great example, great band. Like somehow they're both metal, but they have like almost no common ground other than the fact that they're metal.
I think like with music and art in general, it's like, I mean, it's a reflection of reality. It's like how we interpret reality through like a certain medium. Mm-hmm. And so it's like metal, it's like a horror movie. It's like, it's the ugliness. It's the, like I always, the reason I love it and maybe it sounds kind of fucked up, but it just kind of reminds me of people screaming in a house.
Yeah.
You know, I go listen to like hardcore and it sounds like just tension and just all this, you know, it just sounds intense, and I like it and I relate to it, and it gives me like a comfort for some reason.
No, it's calming, and that's the weird. Nobody gets that when you're a metalhead and you tell somebody that shit. When you're like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is bringing me back down.
Oh yeah,
especially black metal. Like,
especially black metal.
Especially makes me really fucking calm, and I'm just like
really super melodic black metal. Like, this is I do fucking yoga just to keep in shape, and I listen to like melodic black metal when I do yoga.
Yeah.
I can't like. My wife likes the talking drums and shit. I was like, no, man, I need some fucking. I need Bishop of Hexen. I need over the top fucking ridiculous bullshit black metal.
Well, we're gonna take this opportunity to take a break, and then we're gonna come back for part 2. So we're gonna continue the interview here in just a second. So
I need tobacco in my life.
Yeah, guys, we'll be right back for the second part of the interview with Apophis.
You're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
And we're back. Welcome to round 2 of WrestleMania. No,
it's fucking okay. He's making fun of me right now because I love having this conversation so much that I'm skipping part of WrestleMania for it right now, and you guys out there in the Warlord universe know that that's a big deal. So, thank you guys for being on, man. I'm really glad you came out.
So, just
WrestleMania.
Educate me. What's going on in WrestleMania this year?
This year at WrestleMania, okay. No, we have a cool thing going on. We have this guy Kofi Kingston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
He is finally getting a push for the title after like 11 years of being in the company. And while I love wrestling, I am the first one to admit that it has been vaguely racist most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're kind of throwing that in the toilet with this shot. So I'm looking forward to that match. There's also the women's championship match. Ronda Rousey's going to come out and not beat the shit out of 2 women that she's perfectly capable of beating the shit out of. So that's going to be entertaining. There's some big stuff going on at WrestleMania, Craig.
All right. Well, yes.
I didn't even know that was today.
Yeah, man. Most people do. If you're a wrestling fan, this is Christmas time. Like, I've been watching a pretty steady stream of nothing but pro wrestling for like 3 days now, and it's been fucking great.
Yeah. Nice.
To a bong load, and you're like, I wonder what fucking Kikataro's doing today. It's fucking amazing. Nice. I recommend it to everybody.
All right. We'll definitely check out WrestleMania, but we're going to...
WrestleMania? That's slip there, buddy.
WrestleMania, yeah.
Welcome to Racial Mania.
Racial Mania. I'm fucking using that, dude. That's great.
Just give me credit whenever you do.
No, seriously, like, if you go back into wrestling, there's just always, like, the good old American boy versus, like, the dirty brown foreigner. And it's like, God damn, sometimes.
Right.
They're starting to kind of, like, well, like, they kind of stopped in the Attitude Era because they were like, we're just going to show everybody tits now. It's going to be fine.
Right.
And then they kind of brought it back up again there for a while. Because I don't know if you remember this. You remember that Saudi prince that, like, murdered that fucking journalist?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I've heard that.
Yeah, it was like a recording. Like, they basically have it on tape, this guy just, like, torturing and murdering a journalist he didn't like.
Damn.
And the WWE had, like, an event booked for that guy. Like, it was in his honor. Like, the Crown Prince guy. Yeah, and then that video came out, and it was like, well, we still have this show to do. And then a bunch of the wrestlers are like, I'm not doing this show, man. It was a very weird pay-per-view.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Racial Mania. That's
Racial Mania.
I love that. I'm going to get a shirt that says that.
There you go. But let's get back to talking some music with Apophis.
Yes.
A couple of the questions that we always like to ask the guests is kind of like the nitty gritty of how you guys do things. How do you guys get to shows? Like, do you guys
just like 5 dudes in your band, right?
Do you just caravan like different cars to the venues, or do you have like a van or a bus or anything like that?
No, we have. I have a car, my shitty Ford Taurus. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out to my Ford Taurus out there.
It brings him joy.
But no, our drummer Robbie, he has his car, and Reed, our bass player, he has his truck, and we have like Marco, his girlfriend, she has her Jeep, so it's like whoever can really help out, they'll help us out and help us load equipment and stuff like that. But basically we have like 3 cars. We just give each other rides, help each other out, stuff like that.
See, what a lot of people, especially if you're not a musician out there, what you don't realize is like we play wherever we can get gigs.
Yeah.
So that means if you guys have a gig in Austin, you're taking like 3 fucking cars down to Austin. You know what I mean? Like it gets brutal. Not everybody has a sweet space van like Craig. I love your van. Your van's so comfortable, man.
It is. Oh, that's our 3rd van.
You trashed a couple?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
What happened to your 2nd van?
I burned up in a pile of flames. No, it eventually just totally crapped out.
Like Silver Tongue, nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it would be cool like if we got a bus, like an old school bus, and took all the seats out and just like
Oberon.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, actually make our own tour bus. That would be fucking
Oberon
badass.
has. You guys know Oberon, correct? Haven't you?
I don't think they've played with them.
Oh, you should. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah, we shout out to them on every episode that we do.
That's true. We did it again. We didn't even mean to.
But
we talk about Oberon and we're at 25 episodes.
Great friends of ours from Oklahoma, and they play like spaceman metal. It's like they come out wearing like full astronaut suits.
I've seen a picture of them.
Yeah, those guys are fucking awesome, man.
It's great. I mean,
it's
kind of like Pink Floyd meets heavy metal. That's kind of underselling it, but they're great guys, great band, and but they bought like a bus, like a short bus.
You tell them the story because there was an auction that they were at, and DJ put this ridiculously low bid on this bus.
Yeah, it's just for a few $100.
And then nobody else bid on it, so he got the bus for a few $100.
That is fucking.
He said he paid more on the tax title and license than he did on the fucking bus. But yeah, they did the same thing. They converted this thing, took a bunch of the seats out, and it's swank in that motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
There's tons of room. It's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the way to fly if you can. But of course, if you don't have that, the
caravan.
Yeah, you just got a caravan everywhere.
Yeah.
How about practice? Where do y'all practice at?
I don't even know what that place is called.
It's I don't know the name of it, but it's in Arlington. I actually bought a Six Flags.
Is it a rehearsal unit where there's bands and different ones?
Yeah, it's everybody knows the Avalon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Avalon. It's just in Arlington. It's different rooms, stuff like that.
Those that you got to be committed to your band, man. Those rehearsal spaces like that get expensive.
Yeah, it's like rent.
Well, it's like how we said Reed, he's in the Artificial Life Force. They split the bill with us. We all pay. Everybody in Apophis pays $47 a month, and they pay however they split it. We all just split it, and so it's
that's sick that you got a deal worked out like that. Because if you were renting one of those rooms by yourself, those things are $300 a month or something.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
I would have to live in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't afford both an apartment and a rehearsal space.
Yeah.
For real.
Do you guys just split up that on Thursdays that Artificial Life Force will be there, and then you guys get to practice on Wednesdays or whenever it is that you practice?
We did.
Whenever we actually here in the last couple of months have had a hard time practicing.
Yeah.
And just schedules because we all work a lot and just
and that's another downside that you figure out real quick. You're fuck, how are we gonna figure this out?
Yeah.
Especially because Diesel Beast's got 5 guys in it too, and it's fucking hard juggling all those schedules. shit. Jason was supposed to be here for the podcast tonight, but his work tried to kill him last night, so we're flying. So it's just like that though. You know what I mean? So how do you guys typically, do you have a set day you practice, or is it just a day that everybody's free? Or?
I know recently it's been hard, but just in general, is it normally Saturdays or something?
Mondays and Wednesdays seems to be the days that everybody's free. And it's I work the same schedule all the time. I work 8 to 6 every day except Sunday. So it's I'm free after 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And so, whenever everybody else, it's Monday and Wednesday, it seems, when everybody can line up,
Are any of you guys in the service industry at all?
Service as in
waiter, bartender, anything like that? Cook?
Actually, I just started as a server.
Right, yeah. See, the service industry is so fucking hard to juggle because you work weird ass shifts and weird hours. And like, it's like, I'm working 3 hours on Friday. Can you do next Friday? No, I'm working a double that Friday. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I've noticed the service industry is particularly hard to juggle. You know what I mean? But congratulations on your new job, man.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets you a lot of money, man.
Some music gear.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Right. Is there any particular gear that you're looking to get next?
Oh man. Well, the
It's
thing
like, that's a
is
loaded
everything. Okay, the thing about me, I'm really curious about music, and actually, I want to learn the violin.
Oh, that's one of my favorite instruments of all time. Like, no instrument sounds as sad as a violin.
It depends on how you play it. I want to learn that. I want to learn the saxophone. Man, there's a few instruments I want to learn how to play, but
I want to learn to miss a boogie. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, man. Like, really, I just want to get some recording gear, so I can pretty much we can record anytime we get ready.
Yeah. And we were talking about this on the smoke break outside, which we have a habit of doing, of talking about shit on the smoke break.
We do.
But
just record the smoke break.
I know, right?
Release those as bonus.
It's a smoke break.
But we were talking about you guys are looking to record an EP or an album. And you're talking about doing it yourself.
Yes.
How many songs do you guys have, like, just fully fleshed out and you can play them live and all that kind of stuff?
8?
Yeah,
about 7 or 8.
About 7 or 8.
About 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, if it was, if money was an object, like, when you go in to record something, like what would you record? Would you record like all 7 or 8, or would you just pick out like the best 4? Or
for an EP, I would say about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's a pretty heavy EP, actually. 5, like, that's a good deal. You know what I mean? For how much you can sell an EP for. Yeah. 5 songs on an EP is like, that's like bonus material. That's fucking awesome.
I'll say this. I know nothing about this side of. I just play guitar and I don't know nothing.
It's never too late to learn.
But like, promotion and all that stuff. But like,
that is the most stereotypical metal guitarist shit you could have possibly said. Like, I don't know, I'm just here to play guitar.
But like, I watch YouTube a lot and I see like these promotion channels and things like that, and I just be thinking, there's Bandcamp, there's this Spotify. It's like, what can we record? Maybe we can get on this promotion channel, something like that. I feel like that. I've followed a lot of bands. I love music. I'm always like looking for new stuff to listen to, and like I followed some bands to where they were like local in their local scene and stuff like that, and just had little internet buzz, and now they're signed and doing big things. So it's like,
I like to follow bands too, like especially if I find one that's not real well known, but they starting to like kind of hit their stride, and then you get like, do you remember The Sword? Yeah. They're one of the reasons that I do what I do, but they had like that real classic 70s metal sound, you know what I mean? And I remember that first album came out, I was like, this is fucking excellent. And then, it just kept getting better until they got really big, and then they put out an album that I really fucking hated.
Right. Was that High Country?
I fucking hated that. It was so bluesy. There was nothing metal about it.
No, what are you saying? Ghost really loved it?
Ghost, my old lead singer fucking loved that album. To the point where I yelled at him. I was like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're fucking wrong. This is garbage.
You just put back on Age of Winters, and I won't listen. I won't listen.
There's not one song about an axe. What the fuck?
No.
But yeah, it's always cool when you find a project that's kind of tucked away in a corner somewhere, and then you get to follow it and see how far it goes. I think I'm actually going to do that. I'm so fucking curious to see you guys play now.
We got to.
Sure.
I'm definitely coming to your next show, man.
What do you, show-wise, what do you guys got lined up?
Okay, well, we have a show.
Song-wise? Oh, no, my bad. I mean, shows.
Well, yeah.
He's just here to play guitar.
Well, yeah, no. This month we have the 12th. We're playing with how do you say, Convalescence?
Convalescence, yeah.
Yeah, Asylum. I forgot who else is playing.
Where's it at?
It happens.
Diamond Gems.
Diamond Gems, and that's April 12th. So that's what, next Friday?
I believe so.
So next
Either
Friday
or Saturday.
So next Friday, Diamond Gems, and then anything else? Like how far out do you all book?
The furthest we've booked was Dallas.
No, I mean like time wise.
Last year, I think by June or July, we were booked till December.
Nice.
So it's like, and that's because a lot of people are just really nice, and like I love this scene. A lot of people show us love, even though like I feel like we, in my opinion, I feel like we play shitty shows, but it's like, you know, a lot of people.
We all play shitty shows, man. We got to make the best of these shitty shows. That's how that goes.
Yeah. But no, a lot of people show us love, and you know, they give us opportunities. Shout out to Stynex, they gave us a lot of opportunities, and you know, we get booked. Well, like by the middle of the year, we'll get booked to the end of the year, and so it's like, you know, we had these shows that we're playing now. We booked these shows somewhere in November, December.
Yeah,
you know, so it's
so
like
you're at Diamond Gyms on a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah. And then I didn't mean to cut you off. You also playing a 420 show. Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, I think that might be the one I go to.
The 420 show is it's at Tomcats. We're playing with Interment, Asphyxiation. I think Asphyxiation is playing. Accidental Incest.
Fuck, I love the name of that band. I saw him one time.
Oops, I fucked your old accident.
I know, right? The first time I ever saw that name on a flyer, I was just like, that's amazing. Like, I'm never going to forget the name of this band.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a fucking badass show. And a lot of people are going to be stoned as fuck. Like,
I'm going to...
Go figure.
I'm going to
of course.
Normal legal cigarettes.
Right?
By myself in my car.
You know we got to cast aspersions at those other people.
Yeah,
what is that smell?
the hell no.
I would never smoke the devil's lettuce.
Right?
Again.
And then we were talking that you're hoping to set up a birthday show in July.
Oh, yeah, man.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, July 16th.
Yeah.
If any of you guys out there listen to this actually, and you're a booker, because we got a couple of buddies that are bookers and stuff like that. If you got something open on July 16th, like, holler at us. I'd like to get these guys a show for his birthday if you can't figure something out. No, for sure, man. Playing on your birthday is tits, because everybody gets you wasted.
I don't know if you heard whenever I told Carrek, but this year my birthday is during the full moon.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm a follower of the moon, so like.
Me too.
Dude.
That's a good night.
That'll be something to remember.
The veil will be thin, man. You could really rip some shit up, especially if you're talking about intent through music. Fuck yeah, I like your style, man.
Thanks.
So we got a few more minutes and then we got to wrap it up. But I was gonna ask, like,
WrestleMania.
Dude, I'm so excited. Like, my wife's sitting here texting me shit. Did you guys know that?
Is she giving
Kurt
you
Hawkins and Zack Ryder? I asked her to give me updates.
I kind of want to see it though.
Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder just won the tag team belts. Those dudes are jobbers. They never win anything. It's kind of fucking funny.
You know what we need to do is we need to do an episode with like you and Jesse doing a podcast while you're watching WrestleMania. You could be doing like color play-by-play.
Totally, I would absolutely do that.
That'd be amazing just to listen to after the
Braun
fact.
Strowman's got a beard that looks like it smells like warm moose piss. But so fuck. Now I had nothing.
No, you had nothing.
You totally derailed me with racial mania.
What are you guys listening to at the moment? I always like to kind of hear what people are listening to.
Me, I'm pretty much all over the place, but I don't know. Have you heard of dark cabaret music?
No.
Yeah, actually, I was in a dark cabaret band.
Oh shit, hell yeah.
It was sick, the Hellraisers.
Okay. But like the Tiger Lilies, Circus Contraption, you know, shit like that.
Yeah, it's really dark, like almost circusy. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's
definitely
fucking sick. I love that shit.
Oh no, I'm a fucking weirdo.
Me too, man.
Also, man, like I have these fits where I'll listen to like grindcore and hardcore punk, and it's just like the aggressiveness and like, well, pretty much I like music that's capricious, I would say.
Okay.
Like things that have mood changes and time signature changes.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's more about the songwriting. Like a song could be simple, but
if it's great, it's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, like pretty much just the dynamics of it.
If you look at Iron Maiden, because Iron Maiden will use a lot of dynamic shifts, a lot of timing shifts, but it's 3 notes. Those guys did fucking 30 years of GAE, man, the whole fucking time. They just knew how to mix it up right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm in regards to like simplicity, not necessarily being a hurdle. You know, you can really work with it.
Yeah.
You can add a lot of dynamics. So I'm curious as to
it's like, well, it's like what Kurt.
Cobain, you gonna talk about Nirvana now?
No.
Kurt Hawkins, he just won the tag team belt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All conversation will circle back to racial mania.
It's like what Kirk Hamilton said. Like, you know, he said he's like the song serves itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the song will write itself. You just kind of like, you know where it's going. You got to feel it out and everything, and like just let it grow organically. So.
No, I mean that's absolutely right, and I mean that's why, you know, especially like you write most of the lyrics. You said I do the lyrics for my band, and it's like sometimes I can throw 3 songs out, no problem. Like here's fucking lyrics for 3 songs, and then there's other times where I'll get hung up on a song for like 5 months, and I need to kick it around for a while. And it's because like it's not organic yet, you know, it's still growing in my brain. So I mean, like that's really well said, man.
Do you, for lyrics, do you like to come in with the lyrics, like mostly like form, like you come in with your notebook and you'd be like, I've got an idea for this? Or do you prefer to like listen to the riffs and stuff like that and then try to meet the lyrics to like the structure of the music? Or how's that work for you?
Sometimes I will have the lyrics like ready to go and we'll write around it, but typically I need to listen to the melody to come up with the counter melody, and that's kind of how I write the lyrics around it. What about you, Alfonte? Like, because I mean this is a weird question. I don't know if there's any one way I do write lyrics, but I don't know. It's not always prepared. How do you do it?
Me, pretty much. I would say I'm an audio person, or however you say that, but also I'm a visual person. Like whenever we make a song, it's pretty much like a painting.
Okay.
You know, and I'll paint a picture. And I'll make the song based off of the picture.
You typically have a really vivid idea of what you're trying to convey in your head before you even put pen to paper. Or
a lot of times, yeah.
That's badass, man.
Yeah, it is difficult sometimes. Like,
yeah, I'll bet. Because you constantly have to be looking at the bigger picture and picking out details of this thing that's like only in your head.
Right.
I get that, man. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So you said that black metal's a big influence on your vocals.
It is.
That's probably like the most black metal thing about the band. Do you have any particular singers that were an influence on your style?
Attila.
Nice. Mayhem.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mayhem.
Attila, like,
that guy's
he's the reason,
something else, man.
He's the reason why I wanted to start doing Mongolian throat singing and metal.
Yeah, man. Are you talking about like the Tuvan, like...
Yeah.
That shit's so wild, man.
And how that works is what an overtone vocal is. You're pretty much singing 2 notes. There's a foundation.
Right, you're creating a chord with
it's fucking,
just your fucking voice.
It's crazy. And it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah, I would imagine. A lot of circular breathing, like...
Yeah.
Because you have to open up like different chambers in your face, basically, to do it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of types of it, too.
Oh, Jesus.
But
it sounds very difficult.
The one thing that does put, like... It makes people... it pretty much surprises people about our band. It's like... We'll do cleans.
Right.
And like, you know, there's a lot of metal elitists and they're like, oh, no cleans.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like, you can actually do cleans and it can be heavy as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, obviously I love cleans, but I mean, like, it does crack me up when people will get pissed off about that sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, is he singing? Fuck that.
Fuck that.
Fuck that. I'm gonna screaming, motherfucker. You better be screaming now.
Oh my God, that's funny as shit because you're dead on with that dude's attitude. Yeah. What? Yeah. Melody, fuck that.
Yeah, man. There's so many different singing styles, and like, even whenever it comes to like growls and screams and shit,
sure.
It's a lot more complex than people think it is.
I'll tell you, like, one of my favorites ever is Johan Haig from Amon Amarth. Like, his fucking vocal, it's so clean, though. It's a guttural and it's a growl, but I mean, you can understand every fucking word that guy says. That's hard to do. It's also, like, some people don't even strive to do that at all. So, I mean, he's like a one of a kind.
Or it's like a piff. Like, I remember when I heard the Grand Conjunction, like, I just remember him singing. Because I listened to this off the Headbangers Ball Revenge CD. Yeah. And like I remember him singing and then just and I'm like but he was pronouncing every word right, and it was just like the devil talking to you. Like that's it's so deep and throaty, but it's like
it's fucking sick.
Oh, I got a special love for Opeth, man. Like their early records, like were just so mind blowing because there's just nothing like it. The way that they would go. Yeah, Blackwater Park. That was the first album I picked up. My favorite is My Arms, Your Hearse.
That was that was my favorite album.
But I mean, like honestly, any of them, like even like Orchid, is like they're so good. And just to transition from that like ethereal, moody, like melody, like just like sitting in a forest, you know, and like just listening to nature,
aggression.
to just like the most brutal death metal, but somehow like they blended it. You know, I know they've kind of stepped away from that recently, and you know my interest kind of waned on that. But I still love those early records where they do that. And he's absolutely, I think, one of the best vocalists out there, just because he can do both so seamlessly. It's like it's ridiculous.
That's the thing about Opeth is like they're one of those bands that even if you don't like Opeth. You can't be like, Opeth sucks. It's like, no, they fucking don't. No, they fucking don't.
You can't say this isn't music. You can't say that this isn't noise. Like, that was like...
exactly.
Or this is noise or whatever, you know?
That's just
Speaking of noise and music, have you guys heard of John Cage?
No.
Okay, well, going back to the avant-garde, but like, John Cage, he had a philosophy. Mm-hmm. He said that silence is also part of music. Mm-hmm. So he created a track, I think it's called 333 or something like that, but like, the whole song is nothing but silence. Nobody plays anything. And he played it live. Like, he sat at the piano.
That's so
he opened up
great.
And they just sat there for 3 minutes. And like he was doing like this and shit, like he was sweating. And, you know, he made a good point.
I would love, though, I love the entire idea of that song for him to just be like, you know what? We got backed by a record company. I'm going to make him pay me for a song that I didn't fucking do anything to.
All right, this is our biggest hit.
Record that shit. We're going to stand here for 3 minutes.
Just imagine it on the radio.
It's their number one hit.
It's funny. It's funny because it's so absurd.
For sure, but I mean that's kind of why it works. And I mean
that's art.
It's art, exactly. It's ridiculous and very tongue-in-cheek art. Maybe even a little bit of a fuck you to the record industry. But I love it, man. That's great.
Definitely.
What about you, Jarrel? What are some of your main influences on guitar?
Dimebag, but yeah.
No, kid, I wanted to mention this earlier.
Tattoo.
Jarrel sits at the table. I didn't even notice this. He has the biggest fucking Pantera tattoo on the forearm. I was just like, man, I know what this dude's about immediately.
Pantera. No, like, I'll be real with you. My dad, he listened to a lot of blues and country when I was growing up.
I love blues. I started off with blues,
And I you know, I was being a kid, I didn't really understand it, but like I guess when I actually picked up the guitar and I started playing like minor pentatonic scales and things like that, I was like, I love the blues, and I just kind of grew my own love for it. But it's like that's...
Who are some of your influences blues-wise?
Well, I mean Stevie, but then my dad, he also listened to like John Lee Hooker and Howlin' Wolf.
Howlin' Wolf is probably my favorite.
I love Howlin' Wolf. I mean,
Muddy Waters, man.
Muddy Waters. Lil Walter. Things like
was it Lightning Hopkins? You ever heard Lightning Hopkins?
Fuck, yeah.
Dude, that guy can play. I never get to talk about Delta Blues and shit on this show. This is awesome.
And I was born in Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's born in Leland, Mississippi.
You're like fucking close to it. Yeah. It's like in the water down there.
It's like my dad, he influenced me on that. But like metal, I love hardcore punk, and I love Pantera, but I love things like I love what they call, I guess, metalcore. I kind of connected with hardcore and all stuff. To me, it's all breakdown driven, like Acacia String, stuff like that.
A little bit of gent in there.
I like gent. I ain't gonna lie. I love gent. Like,
man, you don't have to feel bad. No. I think that gent, I'm not personally a huge fan of gent, but I think that the idea of basically using your instruments, every instrument, as rhythmically as possible is an interesting idea. And when when it first came out, that was really interesting. But now, like,
it's
everybody fucking does it.
Yeah.
Well, I think, like, at least to me, it's like that whole subgenre, like, owes its identity to Meshuggah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I love Meshuggah. Like, I'd still put money on the table that to me is the heaviest band out there today.
Yeah.
Those polyrhythms.
Yeah, when people are like, well, who's the heaviest band? It's like, yeah, look, there's there's faster bands, there's bands with more blast beats, but no one is as heavy as
Dragon Force,
especially live. It's like to
extra long whammy bar.
I know. But yeah, watching Meshuggah live, it's like mind bending. You know, it's just like, God damn, man. Like
this is completely
fuck you guys.
This is completely off topic. I'm sorry.
No,
man.
Yeah.
But there's this Italian band. I forgot their name, but they made an album called Blasphemy Made Flesh. Blasphemy Made Flesh.
Blasphemy Made Flesh.
No, it's Blasphemy. It's
Blasphemy.
Gotcha.
And like it's a death metal. Yeah, it's like it's a band of brass instruments. Like they're playing death metal. It's just brass, like horns.
That's insane.
Horns and drums. That's it. And they're playing death metal, and it's like, man, it really makes you like wonder.
That's another thing. We're also really big fans of like freeform jazz, like Arnett Coleman and stuff like that.
Cryptopsy?
No,
that's not. That's Blasphemy Made Flesh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is a good album.
It is, yeah.
That shit.
I was like, I don't remember any fucking trombones or any shit like that.
Didn't they just play here in Dallas like a few days ago?
They did.
I don't.
With Aborted?
Oh,
they
maybe.
did.
I didn't. No, I think. Well, maybe. I don't know. I know Benighted was on that. And I know Benighted in.
Yeah, we're talking about the same show. I think Cryptopsy was there.
Maybe. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go, but
same here.
It's possible. But
I don't think I've ever fucking heard Cryptopsy.
Oh, you should. It's out there.
Right on, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's out there. It's,
Lord Worm.
It's some.
Yeah.
It's some spaced out death metal, man.
I love spaced out death metal.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Their sound is a lot different now, but like back whenever Lord Worm was in the band, like that shit.
That's such a great name
None
for
So
a
Vile.
performer.
Non So Vile.
Yeah.
That's one of the most iconic death metal albums.
Oh yeah, it's
My
insane.
name was Lord Worm. I would just like hang dick
Yeah.
on stage every night. Just whop.
Why they call him that is interesting. Like he used to eat worms on stage.
No shit.
Yeah.
You know,
They're high in
going back
protein.
to Racial Mania, there was a wrestler named the Boogeyman who actually got fired because Pete had complained that he was eating live worms, and he was apparently violating the rights of these worms that they were going to feed to fish anyway.
Right?
Wow.
I know, right?
The fuck?
Save the worms.
Very strange.
We
That's
gotta
like
use those worms. Some Futurama type shit.
So, where can we find you guys online, man? Like, do you have websites, social media, any of that shit you want to plug?
Well, we have a Facebook, and actually I created a Bandcamp for us, but you know that's just for whenever we make the EP.
Fair enough.
Release it on there.
Okay.
So we're thinking about making a Twitter, Instagram, you know.
Yeah, I think we are on Twitter. I think even this show's on Twitter. Maybe
We'd have to have Jason.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I know we're on Twitter because I always tag it, but I've never.
Yeah, I find
Use it.
Instagram's a little bit better. I reach a broader.
For bands, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
for
think
sure.
so.
Especially, I mean, for something because you guys have kind of like a visual stage show a little bit too, right? Or am I wrong about that?
Not really.
Okay.
Well,
We got like a little smoke machine, maybe.
Hey, man. let's do it.
They got a guy vaping off the side of the stage.
y'all ready?
Yeah.
Hugh Patrick and his cloud of pancake lies.
I gotta get a big old cloud on.
That would be amazing. Well, I would personally like to thank you guys very much for coming out, man, and
Thank you
sitting
for
through
having
our
us.
technical difficulties. When you get the EP done, holler at us, man. I'd like to come out and plug it and play it on the show and shit like that.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you guys back. We had a great time. It was a great conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys were awesome guests. Thank you so much. Just for the people that are listening, one more time, just plug your upcoming shows and remind people like where they can reach out to you and check you guys out. Because if you guys haven't seen or heard Apophis 2036 yet, you definitely should.
I'm fucking psyched. Like, I'm really interested because I didn't realize it was avant-garde black metal. I should have already been listening to you guys, honestly.
Right? You're slacking.
I'm slipping, man, for sure.
It's all good. But yeah, one more time, just let everybody know what you guys got coming up.
Okay, so this month we have April, right?
April 12th at Diamond Gems, right?
Yeah, April 12th at Diamond Gems.
Which is allegedly a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah. That's
Possibly a Tuesday. No, I'm joking.
Was it Convalescence? Not Convalescence.
I think it's
Convalescence.
I think you're right. I think you're right on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, them, Stynex, and I was about to say Sworn to the Sword, but no, I think,
I don't know. April 12th.
April 12th.
Common Gems. April.
Well, you guys will definitely be there.
Yeah.
We will definitely be there.
And April 20th, we play at Tomcats. 420 motherfucker.
420 motherfuckers.
We play with the Synax again. We play with Asphyxiation Infecta, I believe.
Raleigh.
There you go.
I believe we play with Asphyxiation.
Maybe Raleigh. No.
Probably not.
We definitely play with Accidental Incest, and they're gonna fuck some cousins and shit.
They are definitely gonna d-haw their way up.
We played with them a couple of times.
Yeah, man, those guys. Like I said, I'll never forget the name of that band as long as I live.
Yeah.
And then remember out there, if anybody listening, if you hear this before, what is it, July 17th?
July 16th.
16th. Holler at us. We're going to try and book them a show on his birthday, and we're going to make that happen.
During the full moon.
During the full moon.
There we go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. It's been a great pleasure. We appreciate you coming out and hanging out on the show, man.
Yeah, and we have been Warlord Radio Podcast. If you will leave a comment, subscribe, all that bullshit that every other podcast tells you to do. And I'm starting a new tradition. We did it last week. I'm going to do it this week. Fuck Burzum.
There you go.
Wait a minute. What you say about Burzum?
Right?
Fuck Burzum.
Burzum is the best black metal I've ever heard. And if you don't listen to Burzum, you don't like metal.
You heard it straight from Apophis. There you go.
Thank you guys for coming out, man. We had a good time.
One more thing before we cut out, we want you guys to record a little bumper for the show.
Okay.
So if you guys would just say you're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
And then your names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just rolling, so do it however you want.
You're listening to the Warlord Radio. Oh, fuck.
That's the one.
That is definitely
That's the one. That's the one.
You're listening to the Warlord Radio. My name's Alfonte.
There you
And
go.
we're Apophis 2036.
I like how it's like part wrestling promo, part just like, sure.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for having us, guys.
WrestleMania 2036.
Nailed it. Thanks, guys.